How many times do we find ourselves pondering the origins of Asians, such as the Japanese, Chinese, and Koreans? These questions intrigue us because in attempting to understand the roots of a people, we often refer to the traditional image of Adam and Eve. Today, we will explore the origin of Asians, a topic that sparks curiosity and fascination in many of us. Our quest for answers will lead us to explore various sources, each offering a unique piece of this intriguing puzzle. However, we will adopt the biblical approach as a special lens for this journey of discovery. The Bible, our divine compass, is not just a spiritual guide, but also a rich source of history and culture. In biblical events, we find a treasure trove of wisdom that transcends centuries, offering valuable insights into the origin and formation of peoples around the world. The book of Genesis emerges as the foundation of sacred scriptures, a key source for understanding genealogies and origins of people. We begin our journey in the extraordinary context of Noah and his sons. Noah, a righteous man in the eyes of the Lord, was chosen to be the herald of life preservation during the flood. Exiting the ark, he carried with him a new opportunity, a fresh start for humanity. It is in the details of Noah's descendants where we find the seeds of diversity that flourished on the earth. His 3 sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, were blessed and destined to be the progenitors of countless nations. Today, we will focus on Japheth, our starting point to unravel the ties that connect human history to Asia. Japheth not only shared his father Noah's blessing, but also played a vital role in the spread of humanity throughout the earth. The name Japheth, meaning a beautiful G or G in large, aligns with the blessing of a descendant whose expansion would encompass distant regions. He became one of the fundamental links in the chain of history, connecting the past with the present and the future. Japheth's blessing is recorded in Genesis 9 verse 27. May God enlarge Japheth, and let him dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. Japheth's enlargement is a promise of prosperity and expansion for all. These 3 promises to Japheth indicate that he was destined to live in a vast territory. This blessing is like a seed planted, which will germinate into a multitude of cultures, civilizations, and peoples over time. The vast territory assigned to Japheth, as indicated by his blessing, covers a geographical expanse from Europe to regions of Asia, where his descendants were designated to populate these lands, giving rise to a diversity of nations. The expression "let him dwell in the tents of Shem" suggests harmonious coexistence between Japheth's descendants and his brothers. The biblical journey of understanding the origins of people often leads us to facts evidenced by science. Today, there are studies demonstrating the kinship between Asians and Europeans, reinforcing the biblical content and understanding that Japheth's descendants were indeed responsible for populating Europe and Asia. Delving deeper into this genetic mosaic, we encounter the Xiongnu, an ancient Chinese tribe that, according to historical sources, inhabited the vast and expansive Asian steppes in the 6th century BC. The mitochondrial DNA of these people reveals not only a predominant Asian heritage, but also a significant European component in their ancestry. That is, this Chinese tribe was rooted in the vast Asian steppes far from the lines dividing Europe, but shared genetic traits with European peoples. The wonderful Word of God and the Bible go beyond time, revealing themselves as an endless source of wisdom and understanding. It is fascinating to note how centuries before the discoveries of contemporary scientists, the scriptures already outlined the complexity of the bond between Europeans and Asians. Exploring the roots of Greek mythology, we come across an intriguing coincidence that sheds light on the origin of the Asian continent. In Greek mythology, Asia is a beautiful woman presented as the wife of a powerful character named Iapetus. This connection has notable links to biblical elements and leads us to reflect on the correlations between Greek mythology and what is truly written in the Bible. Here lies the question: would Greek mythology, rich in symbolism, have absorbed distorted fragments of biblical stories? Could this character Iapetus from Greek mythology be the same person described in the Bible? Like Japheth, the son of Noah, all of this makes sense when considering the similarity of names between Japheth and Geppetto. It is also worth remembering the fact that they named their vast territory Asia, certainly in homage to his beloved wife, as was customary in their time. Let me know in the comments what you think. Were Geppetto and Japh the same characters, or is all of this just a simple coincidence? Also, remember to like, subscribe to the channel, and let's go to the video. Chapter 10 of the book of Genesis, known as the Table of Nations, describes the genealogy of Noah's sons after the flood. The verse that speaks of the descendants of Japheth is found in Genesis chapter 10, verse 2, which says, the sons of Japheth: Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. This is the beginning of the genealogy of Japheth's descendants, expanding later to mention the nations that formed from them. The table continues detailing the lineages of Noah's sons, offering a vision of the origins of people after the flood. This chapter is like a map that guides us along the paths of nations, revealing the richness and diversity that sprang from this blessed lineage. However, to facilitate our studies, we will focus on Gomer, the son of Japheth and grandson of Noah. Although his presence in the scriptures is brief, his offspring played an important role in the formation of nations and cultures that flourished throughout history. The biblical account mentions that Gomer was the father of 3 sons: Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. Each of these names carries with it the promise of descendants who would spread and multiply in different regions. As we explore antiquity, we discover that these descendants played unique roles in shaping civilizations and cultures. Ashkenaz is often associated with the ancestors of the Scythians, a nomadic people who traveled vast expanses of Eurasia. Riphath, in turn, is linked to the Celts, contributing to the cultural wealth of Europe. Meanwhile, Togarmah, the third son of Gomer, captures attention, especially when it comes to the origins of the Asian people. Togarmah, the son of Gomer and grandson of Japheth, is identified as the main ancestor of Asians, especially those who lived in the lands of the far north. This connection, traced through the offerings of the scriptures, provides a unique insight into the roots of Asians and their ancestral heritage. The etymology of the name Togarmah, with its linguistic variations, also reveals interesting nuances. In ancient Assyrian, the name Togarmah means a dominant or merchant. In Hebrew, it suggests something cut off, and in Phoenician expression, it translates as a pulled or broken. The broken or slanted eyes refer to the unique physiognomy that defines many Asian people. The connection between Togarmah and the Asian people deepens even more when we explore biblical passages like Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 6, which speaks of Gomer and all his troops, and of the house of Togarmah in the far north. This citation is inserted in a prophetic context where Ezekiel describes a coalition of nations that will unite against Israel, specifically mentioning the house of Togarmah in the corners of the north. This points to a geographical identification of these peoples, suggesting a connection with Asian regions. This reference in the Bible has been explored by scholars to understand the origins and distribution of ancient peoples, especially those living in northern regions like the Asians. The connection between Togarmah and the Asian people becomes evident when considering the wide variety of nations and tribes that inhabited the far north regions, including Mongols, Chinese, Japanese, Koreans, and Turks. The biblical approach not only highlights the diversity of these peoples, but also offers a deep context for understanding their ancestral roots. The Chinese, with their rich ancient heritage, find their roots in this ancestral legacy, marking China's theory as a cultural and historical powerhouse. The Mongols, in the vast steppes, unleashed empires that shaped the landscape of Central Asia. The Japanese descendants of Togarmah brought to life a unique culture whose influence resonates globally. The Koreans, with their rich and complex history, represent another aspect of this lineage, contributing significantly to the Asian landscape. Finally, the Turks, as heirs of the bridge between East and West, carry with them a heritage intertwined with diverse influences. The great promise granted to Japheth to inhabit a vast territory has unfolded over the centuries, revealing itself as a prophecy that has transcended ages and continues to materialize. We observe, for example, today how China is one of the largest countries.